I get it. You want to be lean, shredded, perform your best, feel great, look amazing, and live to 100 while you're doing it. You want it all. The reality is, you can have it all, just not at the same time. In today's video, we're going to talk about how to eat for health, how to eat for performance, and how to eat for aesthetics. Now, whether you're an athlete that is striving for peak performance, or you're someone that just wants to lose a bit of weight, put on a bit of muscle, or maybe you are someone that is trying to understand nutrition so that you can feel your best and live a long, healthy life. These are all really great goals, and this video is designed to break down how to eat for each of those goals and also explain why they are different. First of all, my name is Savannah. I'm an online nutrition coach and personal trainer, and I primarily work with climbers who want to achieve that lean and toned look without sacrificing their health, their performance, or their social life. Now, obviously, that sounds like having it all. Everyone wants to be shredded. Everyone wants to be the leanest, healthiest, fittest, most balanced version of themselves. Like, obviously that is the goal, but it's super important to recognize that these specific goals, performance, health, and aesthetics, can work in opposition to each other. For example, if you're trying to optimize your diet to be at peak aesthetic form, chances are you're not going to be the healthiest version of yourself. Take bodybuilders, for example. They are hailed as the epitome of what a lean and aesthetic human looks like, and yet when it comes to health, performance, certainly longevity, we don't think of bodybuilders. On the flip side, if your main priority is performance, it may require you to eat a little bit more. It may require you to eat foods that aren't healthy per se and don't contribute to your long-term health or your body composition goals. So what I always say is that you can have it all, you just can't have it at the same time. So let's break down what it takes to eat for each goal, what your focus should be, and then we'll talk about how they overlap and how you can find your sweet spot. Now, when it comes to eating for health, the main focus is on quality and nourishing our bodies with a nutrient-dense diet that just supports our overall well-being. That's foods like whole grains, fruits, vegetables, meats, nuts, seeds, things that we recognize, like food that comes from the earth. I'm a really big fan of eating single ingredient foods, and that being a golden rule for nutrition for health, because when we think about single ingredient foods, they make the most sense as to what's going to provide us with the vitamins, the minerals, the nutrients, the fiber that we need to feel our best. For example, take a carrot. There is nothing in a carrot except for a carrot. You compare that to, say, a bag of chips, and there's going to be a bunch of crap in there that makes a ingredient list super long. A healthy diet also really focuses on getting enough fiber, which is super important for supporting our digestive health and reducing the risk of chronic diseases like heart disease and diabetes. When we eat for health, we're really thinking about how we can feel more energized, satiated, focused, and how we can really improve things like our digestion, our mood, our skin. This whole section of eating really comes back to that famous quote that I have no idea who it's from, but basically saying that we are what we eat. So if we want to feel our best, we want to be putting in good fuel. We can't expect a Ferrari to run on sand. So if you want your body to run like a smooth, well-oiled machine, making sure that you put in good whole foods is obviously going to be critical. When it comes to eating for performance, the ultimate goal here is to be on top of your game in your chosen sport. So structuring your diet is going to depend on a few things. One, what your chosen sport is, and two, where you are at in your season. Are you pre-season? Are you off-season? Are you in season? Are you leading up to a competition? Based on where you're at with your training is going to determine how you structure your nutrition. That said, there are still a few golden rules that you can follow when it comes to eating for performance. Number one, continuing to eat a whole food, nutrient-dense diet as much as possible. You are what you eat, and to feel your best, you want to ensure that there's no nutritional deficiencies or gaps. This is going to play a really big role in energy production, muscle recovery, and boosting your athletic performance. Two, you really want to consider nutrient timing. So this is where we get into the nitty-gritty of really dialing things in, because for you to be at the top of your athletic game, you really need to be dialed in. So that might look like structuring your meals around your training. It might look like having a specific meal before your training and a specific meal after. For example, you want to be having something like a carby and protein-rich snack snack or meal, depending how long out from your training session you are, because this is going to help give you energy. And then immediately post training, you want to be getting some form of protein in so that you can boost your recovery and ensure that your DOMs aren't as bad and you can come back and hit another session the next day or the day after based on your training schedule. Something else that is often overlooked is just staying hydrated. And it sounds so simple, but this can massively impact your performance and your recovery. If you're not hydrated, you are not going to be on top of your game. So making sure that you're drinking enough around your training sessions and in general is definitely going to help with your performance. Eating for aesthetics is all about changing the way our body looks. If we're trying to improve our body composition by either building muscle or losing body fat, then you're manipulating your overall calorie budget and your macronutrient profiles. This is the most important part of eating for aesthetics. Unlike eating for health, when it comes to eating for aesthetics, quality is less important than quantity. What takes precedence over everything is really just how much you're eating. Now, if your goal is to build muscle, you want to be eating in a calorie surplus. Not too much so that you're putting on unnecessary body fat, but enough that your body has materials to build that muscle from. On the other hand, if you're trying to lose body fat, you need to be in a calorie deficit, and that means basically eating less calories than you burn on a daily basis. Now, whether your goal is to build muscle or lose body fat, there are 3 things that you need to consider when it comes to eating for aesthetics. 1, you need to be eating enough protein. Protein is literally the building blocks of our body, so if you're trying to build muscle, this is going to be super important. If you're trying to lose fat, on the other hand, though, and you're trying to change the way your body looks and improve it, you're going to want to retain as much muscle as possible. And when we cut calories, we don't want to be losing muscle and keeping fat. We want to be losing fat and retaining any lean tissue that we have, including muscle. So protein needs to be the most important macronutrient that you do prioritize when it comes to structuring your diet. A good rule of thumb when it comes to protein is eating 1 gram per pound of body weight every day. Can eat a little bit more. At the end of the day, protein is going to be the most filling macronutrient. So again, making sure this is at every single meal is going to keep you full, if especially you're in a calorie deficit and you're trying to eat less. The second thing to consider when eating for aesthetics is really trying to limit processed foods. This is obviously going to help you feel better, but also these foods are typically higher in calories and offer little to no nutritional benefit. So they're not offering you anything in the way of vitamins, minerals, fiber, and they're going to leave you hungry probably an hour or 2 later. And when you're eating in a calorie deficit, you don't want to be hungry all the time. This is going to make it super hard to stick to, and you're going to fall off the wagon and potentially fall into a bit of a yo-yo cycle. And the third thing is obviously monitoring your food intake using an app like MyFitnessPal or Chronometer or some form of food journal where you can really track what you're eating and make sure that you're consistently hitting the quantity of food that you should be eating according to your goals. This is going to make it easy to, 1, track your progress, but also make adjustments when you need to, because if you continue to eat at a certain level of calories, your body will adjust over time, and if you know exactly where you've kind of been, then you can drop down from an educated place and make educated decisions. Now that we've gone over how to eat for each goal, it's important to remember that there's no one-size-fits-all approach when it comes to nutrition. It's super important to periodize your nutrition over months, over the year, based on where you're at, what your activity needs are, what your lifestyle factors are, and what your current priority is. As you can see, these goals aren't necessarily mutually exclusive, but they can require a dedicated focus from you, and that does mean sometimes giving up one for the other. For example, if you're in a low period or a low intensity cycle of your training, it may be more important to you to focus on your health or your aesthetics. And then as training starts to ramp up, you go all in on your performance. Periodizing your nutrition like this can help you feel like you've got it all and you're balancing it, but you're also really excelling at the goal that you have at hand. So I hope that this video really highlighted some of the ways that you can structure your diet based on your priorities and based on your goals. If you have any questions, do drop them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and I would love to know, what is your current priority? Is it aesthetics? Is it performance? Or is it your health? And what specifically are you trying to work on? Thanks for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video.